this is what's happening. So, as you can see, the SEA Games.
Before we talk about SEA Games, let's talk about Rizal Memorial Complex.
So we won. I mean, we won the right to swim.
Previously, your non-PASA members, you guys, your swimmers, were not allowed to swim there. Why? What was the reason given? Because it's a PASA
Well, because we're
pool.
not PASA, and only PASA members are supposed to use the pool. With Ultra and in Rizal Memorial.
PASA doesn't own it.
Well, that was the reason why we put up a pool in Diliman Prep School. Because I felt sorry for all these national caliber swimmers who could not swim in those pools. But, you see, I believe in advocacy. And if you're right, you're right. And Richie Garcia allowed us to hold the tournament there because he saw the performance in the SEA Games. He saw, you're cellar dweller practically, di ba? And you're not allowing other kids to come in and swim.
Yes,
I mean, that's ridiculous. So now, we're not claiming to be better than them, but at least give us the chance to see how our students or how these kids are performing. And we have more than 50 teams participating. From Zamboanga, from Antipolo, from Cavite, from Batangas, Laguna, from Bicol. You know, I was totally shocked originally. We thought we would have 15 teams.
But then, I mean, so much interest in swimming, and perhaps a lot of swimmers really have now an outlet. They see that, you know, it is possible for them to really compete and to really strut their stuff.
That it's a Filipino human right to swim.
Why
I mean, we're not saying that we're going to have a Diliman Prep School team in the Olympics. We're not going there. If we have a good enough swimmer to go to the Olympics, then we will tell PASA, do you want our player or not?
They'll probably say no.
Diba? I mean, if that is the time, because it should be based on time. It should not be based on whether Mark Joseph likes us or not.
Membership there. No, it should be the best Filipino or Filipina.
Yes.
That should be it. He or she should be on the squad.
And our advocacy is not just for swimming. It's for all sports. That if you are good enough,
the best man or the best woman,
you should be allowed to try out.
Of course.
But then no, what they do is Mr. Joseph will say that in the newspapers, that the tryout is open to all. You go to his office to sign up, and they'll tell you, oh, the tryout was closed yesterday. Diba?
Force majeure.
Easy because it's easy because. You know, Lauren Dele Chavez, for example, of Cebu, was considered #1 in the time trials in Arafura last May in Australia.
Yes.
Ooh, they saw non-PASA #1 in the time trials, and all the swimmers of Nikki Coseteng, Diliman Prep School, were what do you call this? Performed so well that they qualified to be in the finals. And guess what? Mr. Mark Joseph just didn't allow them to swim at all. Because
it would have been a quote-unquote slap on PASA that non-PASA swimmers performed so well and brought home golds and silvers and what have you.
Well, I cannot say that really was his reason, but whatever it is, all our swimmers qualified for the finals, and Mr. Joseph, in spite of Richie Garcia, who was present in Arafura, telling him, they must be allowed to swim. So then they didn't allow it.
They competed and they qualified for the finals, and when the finals came out,
they didn't allow
them to swim. So why did you even allow them to swim in the first? I mean, why did they even allow them to swim in the first place?
Can you imagine Arafura, an international, competition, actually moved the deadline for submission for qualified swimmers in the finals to, I think, 2 hours before the finals.
Just to give the
Just
Filipinos
waiting for
a
Mr.
chance.
Mark Joseph to say, yes, they can swim.
Yeah.
Then he said, I'm not going to give you any authority to swim, or I'm not giving you the right to swim.
And so our swimmers, our Filipinos and Filipinas who went there could have actually brought home
more medals
and even a top prize, but they were prevented from even swimming. Unbelievable.
Sure. And how funny, because when they went to Malaysia several years back, I think 3 years ago, no, 2 years ago, they were all there, they paid for their own fare. And Mr. Joseph writes to the organizers and to tell them that, oh, in the Philippines, we could fake our passports and fake our birth certificates, so you're not allowed to let these kids swim. So they cried and they really felt so bad.
Oh my gosh.
And so North Borneo adopted the Philippine team. So unlike the Dragon boat that participated and won the medals as Philippines, the Philippines participated as North Borneo. So
North Borneo.
all the medals they won were won under North Borneo.
Not under the Philippines.
No, there's endless humiliation stories.
It's amazing.
Endless talaga.
It's just appalling. Now, let's talk about the SEA Games, the recently concluded Southeast Asian Games. And I understand you brought some figures for us to show to the viewers.
Yes. So in swimming, this is the 26th SEA Games in Palembang, Indonesia, right? In 2005, we had 4 golds, 4 silver, and 5 bronze.
Yes.
In 2007, we had 8 gold, 3 silver, and 7 bronze.
Okay.
In 2009, we had 4 gold, 6 silver, and 1 bronze. And in 2011, we have 0 gold, 2 silver, and 5 bronze. That's after spending more than 40 million pesos from 2008 up to now. I think more than 40 million pesos because 34 million was already given in 2008, right?
With those figures, if this were a corporate setup and we're talking about business, all these guys from the chairman down to the management would be out of a job.
Well, this is exactly what they have. Now, why did we have 8 gold medals in 2007? Diba? 2007, 8 gold medals. We sent Coakley, Walsh, Molina, and Totten, all imports, Phil-Ams.
Not even Pinoys or
Phil-Ams.
Yeah, Phil-Ams, but not
Hindi
Filipinos born and bred here.
Yeah, these are
from
the Asian
States.
Games. Yeah, these are the Asian Games.
Why did we send Phil-Ams?
I mean, Southeast Asian Games.
The last Southeast Asian Games.
Southeast Asian Games, yes.
Why did we send Phil-Ams when there are so many good Filipino swimmers? You're
that's
best female breaststroker.
That speaks a handful about the kind of training that the Filipino kids get from Mr. Joseph et al. Because, remember, as I said, in 2003 SEA Games age group, we were champions. So where are those swimmers now?
Yeah, they should be now in their late
18s,
teens and early
19, 20s,
yeah.
yes. And so they should be training now for the Olympics,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
Now, all of these guys, even if they were there in 2009, we still dropped from 8 medals to 4 medals.
Even with the Phil-Am imports.
Yeah. And then now, we're 0, see?
I mean, I have nothing against Phil-Ams, but, you know, I mean, if
see here, in 2005 and 2007, Philippines had good enough medal standings since we sent Phil-Ams.
Yes.
In 2009, even with the imports, we went from 8 gold to 4.
From 18 medals total to 11.
Yeah, from 18 medals to 11 and from 8 gold to 4. So you can see, I mean, I cannot be making up all of these stories.
Senator, what is the rationale for sending? I don't, you know, please explain to me like I'm a 5-year-old. I can't understand it.
It's a shortcut.
What is the rationale for sending Phil-Ams?
Well, let's put it this way. If you're going to train, seriously train, Filipino students from 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, you know, and onwards, it takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
Of course.
It will take you more money to go down to the grassroots in the different regions. That means if you put in more money into swimming, there's less to kurakot. We have a battle cry na nga eh. Kung walang kurakot, walang kulelat. Diba? That's our battle cry. Walang kurakot, walang kulelat. Why? We put together, for example, today, the first Nikki Coseteng Swimming Championships. We don't have 1 million, 2 million, 3 million to spend. But we were able to see it through.